Thank you to Smyrna Business Association. All right.
All right, next I'd like to invite up Andrea Worthy to give us our City of Smyrna update.
Hi all, happy Independence Day week. We're now officially in July, so it's hard to believe that we're all going to be celebrating this weekend. Hopefully some of us together with some folks maybe we didn't get to spend time with last year. So happy Independence Day to you. A couple of announcements from the city specifically related to Independence Day. City offices are closed on Monday. And I believe the library is also closed, Mary, on Saturday as well. Sunday, just Sunday and Monday. Okay. So we'll be all back open for business on Tuesday. Of course, your emergency services are still operating. So if you need anything, be sure to reach out to them. Other things that seem to be popular around this time of the holiday, talk about, council recently just took some action to approve some changes to our fireworks ordinance. So now we have the ability to do everything that state law allows municipalities to be able to do to regulate fireworks. That being said, keep in mind that both the 3rd and the 4th, folks can legally shoot off legal fireworks from 10 a.m. up till midnight. So if you've got pets like I do that are afraid of those types of things, you might want to take some precautions. And if you have any other trouble outside of those hours, you can certainly call 911 with any other fireworks issues, but those are allowed on the 3rd and the 4th of July. I don't think I have too many. I know. Also related to the 4th of July, the Smyrna Handmade Market that's been going on here in Market Village and also traveling around the city a little bit. They will not be having the Handmade Market this Sunday. They'll resume the following Sunday, and be sure to come out and visit them between 11 and 3. I think I heard the other day they have 45 vendors out there. It's become very popular and been a great success also for the businesses in downtown that have benefited from the extra foot traffic. So be sure to come out and say hello. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Do you want to try to troubleshoot that a second, or are we good, Lisa? Okay. Okay, we're next going to turn to our keynote today. We are thrilled to have Sharon Mason, who's going to give us an economic update from the Cobb Chamber. Sharon is the president and CEO of the Cobb Chamber, and she took that position beginning in January of 2018. Sharon has more than 19 years of chamber and nonprofit leadership experience, including the Birmingham Regional Chamber, the American Cancer Society, and 6 positions at Cobb Chamber. Sharon serves as the Regional Business Coalition Executive on the Regional Business Coalition Executive Committee, the Council for Quality Growth Board of Directors, and was named by Governor Deal to the Georgia Regional Transportation Authority Board in 2018. She also serves on the Children's Healthcare Cobb Community Board, Wellstar Kennesaw Hospital Regional Board, and the Cobb Public Safety Foundation. She's a Marietta Rotary member, past president of Friends of East Cobb Park nonprofit, and has served on the Must Ministries Board of Directors as well. Sharon's a graduate of the Chamber Institute for Organizational Management, Leadership Cobb, Regional Leadership Institute, Honorary Commanders, Leadership Atlanta, and is active in these alumni associations. In 2019, 2020, and 2021, Mason was named to Georgia Trend's top 100 most influential Georgians and Atlanta's 500 most influential list. In 2020 and 2021, she was named to James Magazine's most influential list, Cobb Life Magazine's top 20 in their 40s list in 2021. She was recognized in Atlanta Magazine's Women Making a Mark in 2019 and named to LiveSafe's Resource Academy of Women Leaders in 2015. She received her bachelor's from Samford. She lives in East Cobb with her husband and her middle school daughter, and they're active with East Cobb Church. Sharon, it is a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you so much for giving us an update.
Thank you, Sarah. It is so great to be with y'all. And especially in person. I know we were all Zoomed out, but glad to have some folks joining on Zoom as well. But really loving being in person, especially for an extrovert like me that thrives on being together. But I tell you what a great meeting. We have pop rocks, bundt cake, barbecue. I mean, y'all know how to throw a party in Smyrna. Y'all are a lot of fun. I'm gonna have to come to these more often. But really looking forward to being with y'all and giving an update. And I want to first say thank you, because as I look around this room, there are so many great partners, and everything this Cobb Chamber does, our Cobb Chamber is all about partnerships, all about us working together in collaboration and really advancing and stimulating our economy together. And that's a key focus for our chamber. And we've got a great partnership with Sarah and our other business associations. Actually been meeting monthly just to collaborate, share ideas, and especially in the middle of the pandemic for organizations that typically the heart of what you do is in-person meetings. We've all really had to innovate and think differently about how we can address and solve challenges. And so I know back when the pandemic hit, we thought it was going to be a couple of weeks of staying at home, and then much later we realized it's going to be much longer. And so back in March, when we started hearing from especially a lot of small business owners and the negative impact that the pandemic had on you and your companies, we said, hey, we've got a call to action and really jump on this to help our small businesses. And so we formed an economic recovery task force, and Joseph represented y'all on that, did a great job in helping us really drive solutions. And we had about 20 people, Joseph, on that task force that especially represented the industries most impacted. And we did a lot of listening initially to try to figure out what the greatest challenges were, and then drive short-term, long-term solutions to make sure that we met those needs. And so as a result, that task force, we really focused on a lot of different things. And that included advocating for the payroll protection, and yes, everything in the alphabet soup that we had to learn all those things, as well as making sure you had resources at your fingertips. Our board chairman and I had weekly business recovery webinars. And thank goodness we had all expert CPAs, bankers, others that, attorneys like Sarah, others that could really help us with all the many details of what was happening. And we wanted to make sure to be not only the advocate and champion, but also the resource for companies. And then once we knew it was lasting a lot longer, and with the CARES Act funding coming to the county, we spoke with the Board of Commissioners and said, hey, our small businesses are really hurting. PPP is helping, meeting a need, but we really need to take it one step further. And let's lead the way for recovery. Let's make sure Cobb County that we are the top for recovery for Georgia, but really the country, and to be a model for other people. And that's just what we became. So we started administering in partnership with Cobb County government and through our Select Cobb arm with the Cobb Chamber. We administer $50 million in small business grants. And I know, talking with several of y'all, it was just the boost that was needed. And I tell you, in my nearly 20 years in Chamber of Commerce work, it was one of the highlights to see and talk to so many business owners, despite being 6 feet apart and being masked, but to know that was just what those companies needed to get through. A lot of business owners were dipping into personal savings. They were having to make really tough decisions on layoffs and other things for longtime workers, and it was hard. And so that helped companies hire back employees, that helped them invest in themselves, invest in how do they innovate and rethink and think differently for their products. And so that was a really big moment for our chamber and county to come through for small business. And I really think, in seeing a lot of stats behind recovery, Georgia and Cobb County is really leading the way for economic recovery. And I think a lot of the solutions driven have been a key part of that. And then we did a lot of other things to encourage people to shop local in the way that you felt safe, because everybody was on a different page, and we well respected that of what you felt comfortable with, whether to go or starting to meet in person. But our focus was helping to reopen safely. And I'm very thankful for Lisa Crossman and Cobb and Douglas Public Health, because we're on speed dial talking probably weekly of how do we best help businesses and individuals feel safe and really make sure that we can balance, make sure health is top priority, but also the livelihoods of companies and individuals and balance that as well. And so we helped a lot reopen. We actually, in partnership with public health, established some reopening guidelines that I know over 1,000 businesses used it so they could reopen safely. And everybody's been doing it differently. And but it's great to see so many companies recovering and some helping so many through this. And so I really think because of all the solutions, whether it was the 50 million small business grants or advocating for PPP or all the chamber chats we did to bring industries together to share best practices, or whether it was our Operation Meal Plan that drove restaurants and nonprofits and helped meet the needs for nonprofits, or some grants specifically for nonprofits like Must Ministries that we're driving. All of them, I think, are playing a key part in our recovery. So look forward to continuing to work with all of our partners in recovery. I think we're on a great path now. And I'll tell you, because of a lot of the things that we have done intentionally as a chamber, as a community, with our leaders here, we are really showing, I think, the world that Cobb County, we've got a great thing going here. And so we have had more companies look at Cobb County from an economic development perspective and consider relocation here than we ever have before, which is actually a surprising thing from the pandemic. But we actually have quadrupled the number of companies that we consider on our active project pipeline list, which is great. And our chamber works closely with Andrea and the city of Smyrna and the county and all of our cities and all of our partners at the state, locally and statewide, to attract, recruit, and retain high quality jobs. And it's a great opportunity for us because we know if we bring in a new company here and they're going to be hiring workers from here or bringing new employees, they're going to be buying homes and they're going to be buying bunk cakes and they're going to be having attorneys and placing ads in newspapers and investing in nonprofits. And it's a whole ripple impact on the economy. And so I'm very passionate about adding high quality jobs because it helps tremendously. And we all know, I mean, my husband is in the hotel business. He was furloughed 5 months during the pandemic. So personally, we've experienced that job loss. I know many people that have experienced that job loss, and it's hard on a family. And so when you have to take a step back as a family and you have to say, hey, what are we going to do? It's a tough place for a lot of families to be. And we've seen so many people lose their jobs. And so now for us as a state of Georgia to be back at closer to 3% unemployment is making a very big difference. And so very happy to see that and very passionate about making sure we keep adding these jobs. So one thing that we're really trying to do on the economic development front is diversify our industry. So we don't want to be too reliant upon one industry because if there's some kind of impact on that industry, it could really hurt the entire county. But if we have a very diverse economy, have all different types of industries and be very intentional around job creation, then it's going to help us not just short term, but long term. And so we started Select Cobb in partnership with our cities, in partnership with our county, in partnership with our CIDs, our development authorities, and our state and many others. But Select Cobb, the intention behind that is, let's make sure we're proactive about job creation. Let's make sure we get in front of site selectors and tell the story of Cobb and tell the uniqueness about each area. And let's make sure we focus on existing industry, help them grow. Let's make sure that we focus on the aspects that impact job creation, such as workforce, transportation, public safety, partnering with our schools, all the things that a company looks at that are all holistically part of making them a successful company. And so we've really driven a lot of strategy behind that to make sure we're bringing new jobs in. So before we started this strategy 8 years ago, we were bringing in maybe 500, 1,000 new jobs a year. We thought that was great. So we said, hey, in 5 years, we'll bring in 7,500 new jobs. That'll be our goal because we haven't hit quite 5,000 in 5 years. Well, I'm proud to say that in 8 years, we've now brought in 35,000 high quality jobs in the last 8 years as a result of Select Cobb, and it's making a very big difference. It is in every part of town. It's the UCB pharmas that keep expanding here in Smyrna that have been a very critical part. It's the Fifth Third banks that just have a new branch right over here in Smyrna as well. It's some in neighboring areas, right at Cumberland with ThyssenKrupp and Papa John's bringing their headquarters here, and bringing ThyssenKrupp bringing 1,000 high quality jobs for their North American headquarters for their elevator company, as well as Papa John's as their global headquarters, and they're bringing several hundred high quality jobs. And that is right down the road from Smyrna. That is easily accessible for Smyrna residents, and that helps each person in this economy. So very excited about what's happening. But we just got started. And as I mentioned in the pandemic, because we've been much more intentional to get in front of site selectors, and because Georgia's leading the way for recovery and Cobb County is as well. And Cobb has a lot going for us with low taxes, great access to the airport, quality schools, quality healthcare, quality of life, low cost of living, you name it, plus a very collaborative leadership here in Cobb County. It makes a big difference for a company. So many have been taking a step back in the pandemic and said, hey, I can't do business in my current state or where we are, and we need to think differently about our operations. And so many have said, hey, I gotta think differently. I need to look somewhere else. And that's why so many are considering Cobb. And we're glad to see the results of that. And in fact, just this year, we've had 19 project announcements, which is awesome. 12 that are current company expansions, 7 that are new companies, 1 that we announced yesterday. The announcement yesterday was Relay Payments, again, just down the road at the Galleria. They're adding 200 high quality jobs, and it's a fintech company, and it's going to be their headquarters. So it's a lot of different variety of jobs. Whenever you have headquarters, that means that you not only have the specialty of the company, but you have marketing positions and HR positions. You have a lot of legal and a lot of other great positions that come with that company. So that's another great point for Smyrna residents to have access to organizations like that. And we're seeing more of these companies invest in the community and get involved in nonprofits. And then that's our intention to help bring them so you can get to know them and they can really integrate in our community. That's critically important. But that's just been since January, 19 companies. And we right now have 71 active projects, which is companies in different stages. They may have just started the process, or they may be close to an announcement that are looking at Cobb and looking at every geographic area of Cobb. So there's a lot going for us all over Cobb County, and we're seeing out of the 19 projects, it was pretty spread pretty evenly across our county, and so are our active projects as well. So a lot more to come there, but we'll keep working with our great partners like Andrea and keep working on the strategy like our Cobb Workforce Partnership. That's a big driver, I tell you, behind why companies are choosing here. And if you read the articles from the MDJ and others that say why a company is looking at relocation, is because they know they've got the right kind of talent to fill these jobs. And they know with the access of all of our great universities, with our quality schools, with the intentional effort behind creating the right pipeline of workforce, that's through the Cobb Workforce Partnership Initiative that we started 5 years ago. They're really seeing that that's going to be a big benefit for them. And so we're looking forward to more to come there. And then working on a lot of solutions to drive in every area. We want to keep supporting our schools. And I know as a parent, Sarah mentioned I've got a middle school daughter, and it's really important for a company that they want to make sure we've got great schools. And I know Smyrna, your schools are incredible here. And I'm very happy with the quality of our schools, but it's important for our business community to support our local schools. And that's why we, as a chamber, we administer Partners in Education. And that's a great partnership between us and the schools, but it gets the businesses involved so that you can give back and you can be engaged in what's happening in the school system. And it really gives you a great opportunity to do that. And we also do a lot of things for the schools, like our Teachers of the Year celebration. Looked a little different last year with the pandemic. We actually delivered gifts to them instead of having our big celebration, but they, more than any time, teachers are always giving of themselves so much, but especially in this pandemic, I can't imagine having a Zoom chat and having teaching some in person and all the many hoops they had to jump through. And so we wanted to really show that appreciation. But there's a business tied to it as well. I mean, that's very important. We also have a big proactive support for Dobbins Air Reserve Base and making sure we protect the many jobs, and it's over 5 billion economic impact with Dobbins, and making sure we protect that as well. And then we also have a lot of great things happening in the transportation area. Company wants to make sure that their employees can get to work, and that they are not stuck in traffic, sitting in traffic all day. And so we do a lot of collaborative efforts in that area. One in particular that's happening in the transportation arena right now is the Transportation Infrastructure Bill. And with the county, with our CIDs, we've been heavily engaged in that conversation, because we want to make sure if there's discussion about an infrastructure bill, that Georgia, and especially Cobb County, that we have a lot of great prioritization for our projects. And so a lot of good things are looking good for us, and specific projects that we want, but that's going to keep helping us. And then as a chamber, one of the roles that we play is in advocacy, local, state, federal. We're a nonpartisan organization. We work with those in office to make sure that we're focused on advancing our economy. We're very intentional behind that. And so we only focus on very specifically economic development related legislation, whether at the state level or the federal level, like the infrastructure bill, or locally as well. And I actually just hired Amanda Seals. I know many of you know her. She's going to be our Executive Vice President of Advocacy and Government Relations starting on July 12th. So we're very excited to have her, and longtime Cobb native. She spent 24 years, really local, state, and federal politics, working very well across the aisle to drive solutions and champion solutions. I'm very excited about her starting with our chamber team, and look forward to more to come. And then finally, as a chamber, we're very focused on how we provide the resources for helping businesses from startup to major corporation and everywhere in between really get to their next level of success. And that's going to mean something different for every business. And that's why we're passionate about helping companies start, partnering with organizations like KSU for providing that entrepreneurship, all the resources that someone that's looking to start their business really needs, and really focusing every step of the way on how we support our local businesses. And so I encourage you, with all of our local businesses, let's all look for ways, especially July 4th this summer, that we all look for ways to support our local businesses and shop local, drive, get your bundt cakes, make sure you're supporting all the great local companies that really are the fabric of our community. And I think that's important, that the more that we all do that, the better our communities can be, because we know that when businesses thrive, communities flourish, and we look forward to seeing so many more great things to come. So I appreciate the partnership with each one of you, and a lot of great things happening. I think more to come with partners like Andrea. We were in Leadership Club together. It is great for her now to be at City of Smyrna, to have her home. So we can work on a lot of great things together, and then working with Sarah and our business associations, and Joseph on our Economic Recovery Task Force, and so many of you. Just look forward to that great continued partnership. So with that, I will take any questions you may have. Do I have time for questions, Sarah? Okay, yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, and I will say it goes beyond hospitality. I've heard that across industries for a lot of businesses. And there's many reasons for it, but I know there's a lot of solutions that we're working on driving. And the workforce area, we actually just hired a workforce manager that's going to be working with a lot of partners to make sure we make it very industry specific to help bring people back. But I know some companies have done special incentives to get companies back to work, and some of that's related to the pandemic, but we'll continue to work on solutions. For hospitality is definitely a big one, but a lot of industries are facing that. Yes, Andrea?
So I do have to, I have to give you guys some props, because when I was, most of COVID, I was working in another municipality, talked about, and I was watching with a little bit of jealousy and support that the chamber was giving so quickly and getting things out to their constituents during COVID. So y'all had a great group of people.
Yeah.
My question is really related around transportation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, generally speaking, in this business, transportation has always been a challenge for Atlanta. What is the chamber doing to advocate in specific transportation?
Yeah, great question. And well, first, to address your first point, and is really remarkable, the collaboration, and your mayor, Derek Norton, jumped right in with us, working very closely on the small business grants. You had a great representation of, out of the 3,700 companies that received the grants we administered, major portion from Smyrna. And he helped us. He did webinars with me to make sure we marketed it and got the word out to businesses. And that was critical. And there were a lot of people that helped us get the word out as well. But there are many things that we're doing. And I think people see that Cobb County, we're special, that it's something very unique of that intentional focus around our community, around small businesses, and all the things we're doing. On the transportation front, there's many pieces to this puzzle for solving, and that has been a big focus for our chamber for a long time. That's why we formed in partnership with many others. The cities, the county plays such a critical role, as does Georgia DOT and Cobb DOT as well. And so our role really trying to convene and collaborate and drive solutions. And so we started a transportation mobility council that brings that together. And we've really been pushing out as a council while the county's working on updating their comprehensive transportation plan and other initiatives City of Smyrna's done, making sure citizens are giving their input about what's happening. That's important. And then as there is potential federal money coming, we wanted to make sure that our key projects in Cobb County have the ability to be able to jump on those things. There's been a lot of initiatives we've gotten behind. One of them was the Managed Lane project at 75, and really appreciate GDOT's focus around that, because it's about $1 billion project and it made a big difference. So even if that isn't cutting right in, right on your commute, it does help alleviate 75 in a very big way. And that affects a lot of the other roads and other things happening. But it's definitely a work in progress, because if you've looked at our stats as a community, in addition to being forward-thinking and thinking ahead, our community is growing, and the entire metro region is growing. And so it's important that we plan for that, and we're thinking generations ahead for our children and our grandchildren, and making sure that we're setting them up for success. And so that's where a lot of discussions are happening right now. Our chamber will be leading a transportation mobility summit on October 12th. So I encourage you to come. It'll be around the corner at the Cobb Energy Performing Arts Center. And it'll be one of their first events, because they're opening back this summer, and we're very excited to be back there. But that's where we'll bring together some local leaders, regional and statewide, to talk about what's happening and what's next. So if you want to get involved either on our transportation council on the summit or any of the input areas, let me know, and I'm happy to get you engaged. A great question.
I'm Donna Robinson. I'm with Workforce Cobb, and I can tell you that the Select Cobb really made a difference. We had so many businesses to come to us and ask us for any help for them. Mm-hmm. And most of them said that I think you all had like a webinar to explain to them mm-hmm. how to go through the process. And it really helped quite a few businesses that I know of. They came back and they said, thank you. And I was like, oh, good about that. I think one of the biggest things that I've come to find is that, first of all, we're doing a number of, we just started back doing job fairs in person, not on Zoom. And we're moving more in the job specific. So we just did one based upon healthcare, and we're going to move into technology and then commercial driving, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, want to help businesses that have those types of jobs available, that want to participate, that want to come and, you know, be at the job fair. I tell people all the time, you know, it's one thing to go on the computer and put your information in. It's another thing to see the person in person that's making the decision, but also see that individual that you're looking at hiring. You know, you can be sitting there with your pajamas on the bottom, you know? But if you can't do that in person, you gotta come and show up and, you know, get that good first impression. One of the things that I also we're impacted by is, and let me just say this, one thing that I found out about was because I have 7 grandkids. My daughter-in-laws had situations where one day the kids were in school, one day they weren't out, and then they have to come, you know, from work. And they have to make certain decisions, you know, as related to that. And then also their kids, you know, couldn't get the vaccine, and they want to make sure they were safe. And so there's like so many, like you said, different layers to this whole process of people getting back into the workforce. And we have a number of people that came to us that had lost their jobs. They were just trying to get back to work, but their kids had been working, but now they only had like one car. And so that transportation issue comes in again, where all these kids that were filling a lot of these jobs don't necessarily have transportation to get there. And so that's something that we've been working with trying to provide supplemental funds that we can, you know, help to get the students to the jobs and help the jobs as well. And the other thing I want to say is, I know you mentioned a fintech company. I really would like to see more tech companies here instead of in Atlanta. And that would just be so great for us to have some like here.
Yes, I agree. I love it. I love all that you said, and thank you for WorkSource Cobb is an incredible partner on Cobb Workforce Partnership, and your executive director, Sonia Grant, has been instrumental. She's been very involved in your whole team on everything y'all are doing. And so the solutions that WorkSource Cobb drives have really helped, whether the Construction Ready program and all the job fairs you're doing, and we're pushing those out a lot. They play such a big role to help, especially in career transitions. And we're seeing a lot in the pandemic. Many people are having to take a step back and say, okay, I can't do this other career, so I need some training to think differently and do something else. And so a lot of people have done that, and it's helped tremendously of what y'all have done. And then also we really pushed out that there was a grant for workforce specifically that I think helped people quite a bit for those career transitions back this past fall, and really appreciate that. So on the technology thing, I'm glad you brought that up. Under Cobb Workforce Partnership, we have 5 target industry councils. One is technology, one is biotech and healthcare, one's construction and trade, advanced manufacturing, and then we recently added logistics. And actually Relay Payments is several of these. They're a fintech company, but also a logistics company, combined in several. But we are seeing many more technology, biotech, fintech companies looking at Cobb County for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of great things going for us. Proximity to the airport is great because many of them do business internationally, and that's important that they can quickly get there, especially living in Smyrna. Y'all know it's a 20-minute drive to the airport. This is a great place to be, and great location. And then the low taxes and ability to do business very well here has been phenomenal. So, and there's many other things I've mentioned, such as the schools, healthcare, other aspects of workforce, which is the biggest driving factor of a company knowing that we've got KSU, Life University, Chattahoochee Tech, Georgia Highlands College, so many others that are graduating many. And then partners like WorkSource Cobb that are really helping us with career changes and other things happening. So I think companies are seeing that. And the more things that we do in that direction, the more we're going to get more great technology and biotech and fintech companies here.
Quick question. Jabbar Dozier, have an intern agency in Smyrna for 13 years. One of the things that I see that would be a challenge, that will be challenged for corporations, are how do they decide how to get their employees back?
Mhm.
Are they gonna do a hybrid approach? Are they gonna force everybody back? Are they gonna force them to be vaccinated? So what is Cobb doing to kind of help companies work with that?
Yeah, great question. That was part of our reopening guidelines with help from public health that we're helping companies with. And so part of that is giving advice there of some best practices. We're looking at featuring different companies throughout events to share those best practices. What I'm hearing from companies is it looks differently for each one. There's not a one size fits all method, but having a very flexible transition, I think, is the most helpful case for our chamber. When I know from us as an organization, when we reopened last summer, what we did was we had a reopening committee where one person from each department, not on our senior team, was there to raise concerns, talk through any challenges that they wanted to address, to give ideas. And so, when you've got a whole team of people coming up with ideas, it's going to be so much better than if I'm just sitting down writing out, here's what we're going to do. And our team is so talented. And so I encourage companies, as you're looking at going back, get input from your team. Make sure you take that into account as you're going. Doesn't mean that 100% of everything that's suggested you can do, because you'll find that the input will be all over the board, because everyone is very different in their opinions of reopening and how they feel. But I know for transition, going from 100% working from home, there's got to be some type of transition where you get flexibility. And so what we did is a couple of days a week, you could work from home. You pick the days, you work with your supervisor on what works best. That worked for us. And I know other organizations may not be able to do that, but we've been trying to advise and help all the organizations with reopening. But I know from a company, most organizations can't be 100% work from home because of the culture that's really important for an organization. So having that hybrid model, moving in that direction, really makes a very big difference. But we're happy to help and share our reopening guidelines, and it gives, especially from the health and safety perspective of employees, knowing that that's first and foremost for an organization, that you're thinking through all those things. That really helped us to give our peace of mind for our employees.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have some issues because working from home, people are gonna realize that they like it.
Yeah.
And they may not want to go back, especially people that live in Atlanta, that
Mhm.
drive 2 hours
Yeah.
every day to get back and forth from work. So companies are gonna have to really figure out how they're gonna handle that.
Mhm.
If they don't handle it the right way, they're gonna lose a lot of employees.
It's true. Yeah.
There's a lot of job openings, right?
There are a lot of job openings. Yeah. Yeah. And it was important, I think, top advice, listen to your employees, get their input, feedback, try some type of transitional approach as you're moving back in. So you're not completely doing a shift from all work from home to all in person, and trying that shift. And yeah, you may decide some positions are 100% from home, but some you move into the office, and every company's different. So you got to think what your needs are, and move in that direction. I'm hearing a lot of hybrid models are going to be what companies are moving towards, where they offer, a couple of days work from home a week, some days in the office, maybe some set days you've got to be there if you have team engagement things. But it'll be helpful as companies are transitioning for the reopening guidelines. What other questions? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can add to that. I work for a law firm and we specialize in small and mid-sized businesses, and that is a huge chunk of our work right now, is working with our clients, establishing what legal ramifications can take place.
Mm-hmm.
Anything from things employees have to sign to just guidelines.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you have legal counsel, you can always consult with them.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a great piece of advice. Is we got a lot of great legal people like you that can help walk through, and it's both peace of mind for the employer and the employee, and you want to make sure you're communicating that they're first and foremost, that their health and safety is top priority, and so everything you're doing is thinking through that. And even our reopening committee helped us with little things that may seem little, but they were not to our employees of, okay, the bathroom doors, you don't want to be touching them. So it has to have a foot pedal where you could open on the feet and providing masks. And at that point in time, that was what we did. But I know now looking at this point in time with many more vaccinated, it's important that a company does seek legal counsel as they're moving forward. Right. Correct. You can encourage, and that's something we've been encouraging is get your vaccines. And I know that's helping people feel more comfortable getting out.
Workers' comp doesn't cover viruses.
Right, right.
So forcing people, it's a whole, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where we go from an industry standpoint. Employees, insurance.
And all those things and in life, I mean, just in general, a lot of parents have had some more challenges. I know we were talking about having to homeschool kids and all the things that have had to happen, or camps have been closed. And so that makes it more challenging for working parents to think through. So I know as we get into the fall, a lot more schools are going back in person. So more companies will be moving that direction. So seeking your legal counsel is always the best direction to go in. Yes.
So are we seeing maybe less governmental top-down legal structure for all of this stuff and let the business make their own decisions on where they want to be as far as what kind of PPE or whatever other regulations internal to the company, not being mandated by the government or the chamber or whatever is regulating authority.
Yeah, there's no current government mandate on PPE right now. So basically it's up to the businesses for determining what they will do and determining what's best for them. Yeah. Any other great questions? Great discussion. Any other questions before we close? Well, again, thank y'all so much for being here, for letting me be here with you. I love the Pop Rocks. I can't wait to take y'all are bringing me back in the day. I love this. This is a fun meeting to be at. If I can help you in any way, please let me know. And our chamber's here for you, for this community, and look forward to working with. I know I got everybody excited on the Pop Rocks. Sorry, Sarah. But thanks again.
Sharon, thank you so much. I hope you and your daughter and your husband enjoy some Pop Rocks. Thank you to Christy for sharing the Pop Rocks with us today. If you're on Zoom,